You're tuning in to the Bueno Power Hour podcast. On this episode of the Bueno Power Hour podcast, I speak with Lauren Engel. Lauren Engel is the founder of the YouTube channel Sidewalk Talk, in which she interviews artists while taking a stroll in the neighborhood. We talk about some beginnings, her starts as a photographer, and I guess now a music journalist, and just other things here and there. A little bit of details in some interviews that I was very, very impressed with. So, yeah, this was a fun one. And guys, sit back and enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bueno Power Hour podcast. I'm your host, Arthur Bueno. And I have a very, very, very special guest here. Her name is Lauren Engel. Gosh, it's so great to have her here. A little bit about her. She is the founder of the YouTube channel Sidewalk Talk. Basically, she interviews artists and kind of just walks in, I guess maybe in a sort of a neighborhood-like setting. Video cameras pointed at both Lauren and her subjects. She mainly just asks, some simple questions. Really, it's them them talking about themselves and probably the projects that they're working on. Pretty genius kind of format. I actually started my podcast because of Sidewalk Talk. To be honest, yeah, no, I'm not even joking. It was pretty influential, and it seems as though that the channel has also expanded a little bit. You had another addition, another person who does EDM news, music reviews. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. And before we start on the interview. My first experience with Lauren was her interviewing the Hire Brothers, and I think that sort of started it for me. I think that I kind of saw that she has potential, because you have a certain way of connecting with these artists that most people do.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
I feel like the Hire Brother ones were so difficult because it was in Mandarin and the sound was terrible, and I just felt like I was one of those interviewers who are backstage at a concert and none of the questions are really deep enough. And,
yeah.
That's why I'm surprised at that entirely. I'm that's probably the most least probably. They're super cool, but just the execution with the sound and I think the Mandarin did help, but then it just also didn't because they were limiting their answers kind of based on they have what they thought my Mandarin level was. That's cool that even that connected with you. Oh my gosh.
It's cool because for a person like yourself, and this is the part where I sort of identify you the most, because the Hire Brothers at that time when you interviewed them, because we're gonna go into kind of the origins, but just to kind of sort of talk about this, you were at such a great point in time in their career before their blow up with 88 Rising. And I can't deny your willingness and your skill sets, learning these languages, Mandarin, Cantonese and stuff. Do you also speak Tagalog too?
That's funny that you know Spanish, but my mom grew up there, but I don't. I went there a few times a year, but I was just speaking English with my relatives. Yeah, my mom's not Filipino. She's they speak Fujianese, so I understand Fujianese a bit more, but nothing that I could speak with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But here we go. This is where it starts, and I'm kind of glad we're at the right foot. Lauren, again, I just want to say thank you very much for being part of this episode. This is really exciting for me.
Thank you.
So, So I've been trying to do a lot more research, and I subscribe to your channel and try to do the best I can to catch up on most of the videos that you post up, because you're pretty prolific on the interviews that you conduct with your artists. But prior to this, and maybe some people don't really know, they probably had to like latch on the channel a little bit later on. But you were essentially a photographer first, and I know that you were
Yeah.
self-taught. Was that so? Okay, and so let's just go back. So, how did all that come about? Because I know that like you did like an 8 facts about yourself. You kind of,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean. I pay
Yeah.
attention, and I really pay attention. Like I really am
Yeah,
interested in
that's
the
cool.
stuff, you know. Um, so you did kind of touch up on a couple of things. You're kind of a former swimmer. You did teach yourself how to photograph. So like you grinded out, being a photographer or learning the art of photography and such. Um, but prior to that, I mean, how did this all started? I guess what I'm saying is like, where were you from? Like, what schools were you going to? Like, I guess we can just start with
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, so in Hong Kong, I went to British international school. So
Mm-hmm.
I was really studious. Actually, throughout my whole like academic life, I was like super studious. I wasn't really that creative. I was very like, if people were to describe me, they'd say like I'm kind of a athlete, but like studious, and
Mm-hmm.
then like an entrepreneur. Like, and my school had I think it was just like a business competition. Like a lot of schools in Hong Kong were, it's called junior achievement. A lot of schools in Hong Kong were competing.
Mm-hmm.
And then my school also had a, I guess, club, like a business club. And then
Mm-hmm.
they voted me as like a CEO, which is kind of surprising because I'm not really like the loudest person or like I was like pretty shy, kept to myself, but I felt
Sure.
like, I don't know, I was like surprised in a good way that they all kind of voted for me. Um, and yeah, it was kind of a fun thing. So that's kind of like how I would describe myself. Yeah, like the swimming, how you mentioned, I was like, I was like the best swimmer in my school. I was like really, I'm like a very competitive person.
Right,
So
right, right,
like
right.
everything I'm doing, I'm like competitive.
Right, right.
Not really kind of like swimming as other people, because like swimming is very like like you have to be in your own time, but like the place in competitions, like you really have to beat the next person. You can't be like not competitive.
Right, right.
But like in every way, I like really tried hard to like. I picked like a few things and like really tried hard with them. I was also like the school's like environmental president.
Damn.
And then I had like a few things that I really was like super passionate about, and I wasn't creative. Like I actually kind of like joked about the people who were like studying art. Like I did graphic design, so I think that actually helped me a lot with photo. But like people who like did art and like paintings, I'd be like, why are you doing this? Like, yeah, because I was really into like geography, business, and like graphic
Right.
design was cool. Like that was, I guess, my outlet.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
really have the best teachers in graphic design, but I really like Photoshop. Yeah, so that
Mm-hmm.
kind of like led me into photography.
Okay. And so,
Yeah.
um, and I forgot what the who sort of influenced you photographically. I know there was like photographers that were out
Yeah,
there.
Narimi. She's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
Australian
Mhm.
photographer.
Mhm.
Just someone in like one of the sister schools in one of the international schools wrote in an interview that she's inspired by her, and I looked her up and I was like blown away.
Mhm.
She did a lot of huge things. Like back then, when she was 16, she shot the Diesel campaign, and that blew my mind. Like she was
Wow.
also like this intimate photographer, but then was shooting like flown to New York, shot with Diesel, like a lot of fashion stuff. Like now she's like a mom, and she's not even that much older than me, but she like became a mom, and she just didn't really like the commercial side. But was like when
Mhm.
at her age shooting Diesel like blew my mind. And then I was also kind of interested in fashion, so
Mhm.
I shot like so many. I was like clearly addicted to photography. Like I would shoot every week, and I'd have to put together, like I took it super seriously. I put together a team. I had a makeup artist and stylist. And looking back, I'm like, who am I? Like I was 16 and I was like working with people who are like 30 and like having them to come to a certain day, like figuring out everything, like ordering
Mhm.
people around, like looking back, I was like, damn, I was like 16 and ordering people
Right.
around. Like, those seems so weird, but for me back then, it's like, I never even like thought of my age as such as like, as long as like I liked working people. They liked working with me. Like it was all good, and the photos turned out good. Yeah, there's just a lot of exciting photography stuff I did when I was like 17. I shot for Dr. Dre, Beats by Dre. They came to Hong Kong with Kendrick Lamar. Had dinner. Like that was insane.
And
Yeah.
that kind of and so that I'm just gonna have to validate the fact that, you know, because when they nominated you to be CEO, right, like in high school, if that's what I'm understanding, like you basically just kind of, because that's what I love about you, and you know, kind of watching from afar, is that you really take initiative. And, you know, of course that you're shy and stuff like that, but I don't think you give yourself enough credit to know that, you know, people like yourselves, like regardless of your age, you are out there like doing it. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to do this interview, because, you know, people like myself, you know, are inspired by that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And, you know, one thing is for sure is, yeah, like the photographs that you took for the Beats, right? Like the Dr. Beats camp ordeal. That was pretty cool. And once I saw that, and then I saw like other photographs you've taken, I can kind of see where compositionally, you know what sells. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
I guess I didn't really think much back then, but I guess now, like, yeah, I think it just kind of came to me, like, knowing my family was really creative.
Sure.
Back then in, like, high schools, I don't even know, but, like, with girls, like, photography became such a cool thing to be, like, a photographer and shoot your friends and, like, they post on Facebook. And I was getting, like, 300 likes, which back then on a Facebook page was, like, pretty decent. Like, this was, like, 7 years ago. On a Facebook page. So, but I was just, like, competitive. I wanted, like, people from other schools knew me as, like, the photographer. Because I just shot some people in other schools. So it was, like, really funny. I don't know. It's also because, just everything with it. But actually now thinking back with the Dr. J, I'm like, maybe that's, like, what kind of got me into, like, the whole music aspect. Because I had never really touched upon that. But now, like, talking to you, I feel like, oh, maybe that was, like, the first time I had a touch of what it was like to work with musicians.
Right.
Yeah, it's insane thinking about that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely insane because because photography really, I don't think a lot of people really understand is that, like, photography really opens the door for people.
My gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so insane because you were working for Hype Beast, right?
I still am.
You still are. That's incredible. Well, I'm glad you are, because I would think that because of your because you have a couple of sides that most artists don't have. You know, one is the creative side, and the other is the business side. So being able to compile those things and to, you know what sells, like I was telling you, like what sells. It's not to say that your photographs are just not just commercials, you know, because I mean, when looking back at the body of work you've created, and mind you, you know, other than like that interview that he did with the Hire brothers, I was more interested in your photographs. So no, and this is being real, and I always wondered, like, is it because of her spirit? Like, what's driving her to kind of take these like really well composed images? And I kept scrolling around. It took me a couple of days to kind of think about it, you know, prior to this interview. And it really is knowing that, like, I almost see that you make these images if it was for a magazine. And it's pretty, you know what I mean? It's pretty genius.
I used to be so, like, interested in, like, looking up magazine editorials online. Like, I have stacks of magazine at home in Hong Kong. And it's a completely, like, I was really going for the whole high fashion thing. Like, the models that I shot with, everything to, like, the styling. I had a stylist, wardrobe stylist, makeup. And I was really, like, aiming to be some sort of, like, magazine photographer. Now I'm, like, way more relaxed and chill. And, like, I know that if someone hired me to do some high fashion stuff, like, I could probably still pull it off, like it's in me somewhere, but like back then I wanted to like go all out with like the poses and like type of model, but I was super into high
Right.
fashion photography. Yeah.
Right. And but even then, like, you know, most of the images that I've seen you take, it doesn't look like it's forced. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just like something about you like has really created this energy towards the subjects, and I think that sort of they receive that pretty well. I don't know, man. I don't know if you really think about this kind of stuff because maybe because I you know what I mean? Because I went to
Yeah, no, that's cool to hear. I guess I don't really even think of I barely look at my old photos unless I'm like going back to my website.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess when I look at my own photos, I'm like, it's just me shooting. But I guess from a different person's perspective, it's different. I don't know. I don't really
Yeah,
think
yeah.
much about
Well, and that's okay
it. Yeah.
because it's not a big deal because like you know sometimes you don't really need to think too deeply on your photographs or otherwise they just get uh, they just start to like I don't know wear down. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
once you post an image on the internet, it can either die or it can stay alive for about maybe 5 months. You know, so
Yeah.
you know, I kind of get it. I mean, I went to photography school and
Oh wow.
yeah, and so I kind of I identify with more people that are more DIY on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have more of a bigger imagination and being schooled. Um, but that's really like you know where I kind of loved your vision and you know once I started kind of like you know looking around some more like what your next projects are because that's what I kind of look for with most artists. I consider you as an artist still. I don't know if are you still
Mm.
photographing?
Well, sometimes if I have a client that pays me, I don't really do it
Ah,
for fun.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shooting the people who I interview, but like, I'm pretty much only doing it if I have like a job or something. Yeah.
Okay. But that's okay because, you know, you got a taste of what it feels like to be a paid photographer and that's not at all bad. You know,
Mhm.
people, you know, will take pictures only for that specific thing and that's not a bad thing at all. So, don't even trip on that, man. I respect
Mhm.
you. I still respect you for at least, you know, being honest about that and just you know, maybe one day you'll be like, you know what, I just want to do a project for myself and that will probably be, you know, probably be a thing and that's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to your projects. Um and so I know that you know, with school you had moved around quite a bit. You did live in
Mhm.
Boston. You did live in upstate New
Yeah.
York, correct?
Well, New York, not really upside. It was just like really, it was like 181st Street.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah.
All right. And then you're currently living in LA. For
Mhm.
anybody that doesn't know, please subscribe to the Sidewalk Talk channel. It's pretty legit. Okay, just wanted to give that shout out. Um, but so now, as I saw you kind of vlog and kind of talk about, because I think he did talk about how you wanted to open up a channel of of a series of basically these vlogs that you do with artists,
Mhm.
and a couple of the features that you had on Sidewalk Talk, and prior to that, before we talk about that, I'm just like so excited to talk to you about this shit. This is so cool. Um, so what compelled you to kind of do these like vlog type of interviews? Like what compelled you to create Sidewalk Talk? Because I know that now you have your foot in the door with the music industry. You are interviewing people who are on the come up or are currently at their peak of their career. What are you getting? What compelled you to actually like create a platform like Sidewalk Talk?
Yeah. So I started doing a lot of stuff for C Heads. Yeah, really shout outs to C Heads. They're a fashion magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a lot of fashion photography with them,
Mhm.
a lot of editorial stuff. That was really fun. And then I think at that point, yeah, I moved to New York, and then I don't know what clicked me. I just wanted to interview musicians. Maybe I was just people like started sending me recommendations or
Mhm.
something. So I started doing a lot of music interviews for C Heads. So that was really fun, but I was like super shy. And I had a friend, Mike Green, who's really nice and like helped me out
Mhm.
with asking the artist questions. Because now it just sounds so stupid. Like I couldn't even talk to like JoJo's my like like iconic for me, and I couldn't even like ask her the questions that I prepared, and he asked her, and yeah, that's
Wow.
what shows like how shy I was. But then, so I liked doing that for them. But then the annoying part was the transcribing, so like the
Mhm.
audio to. I'm not even like a writer. I can never call myself like. I guess now I'm kind of like a video journalist or something,
Mhm.
but I can't write for my life. Like that was my worst subject ever.
Mhm.
So just that, and then it's a fashion website, so then they only put like a few music like interviews out ever so often, and the founders are often traveling and doing family stuff because it's kind
Mhm.
of like a passion project only for them. So
Mhm.
I just and I like when I have something, you know me, like I go hard. Like I did so many interviews, and like a lot of them were taking forever to like put out. But anyway, so the reason for Sidewalk was I started when I graduated. I moved back home to Hong Kong
Mhm.
for a year, and then I started doing like my own YouTube channel that got pretty big. Like now it has 6,000. I didn't even touch it, but I got 6,000 a year, which is actually pretty
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I was just like getting pretty confident in front of the camera. Like I always was, because I shot like I posed for photographers and stuff, but like talking to camera came naturally also, and I was good at that.
Mhm.
Um, and then just like actually talking to people on the phone like you, I'm like pacing so hard. So that's kind of like that, and with the vlog, and it just clicked to me. And I honestly I can't watch like sitting down on the couch interviews. There's like absolutely no way I've seen any that I've been like, well, that was an amazing interview. Like when one of the hosts is on one side of the couch and the other guy's like on the other side. There's no way you can shoot it well. There's no way it could be comfortable. Like yeah.
Right. Right.
So
Right. Right.
just everything made sense. And I like watched a lot of other. No Jumper was a huge inspiration for me. That's kind of like on a table, but that's kind of like what I really wanted.
Mhm.
That inspired me. So everything just kind of came together one day and clicked. And, yeah.
Mhm. Well, so that's the thing with now kind of just going into your YouTube channel. Sidewalk
Mhm.
Talk is a pretty I guess for me famous and successful channel. Uh because there's a couple of things that I'd like to touch on that I love about it. It's just the fact that a lot of the artists that you post up there
Mhm.
are on the come up. Like they're like kind of like the underdogs. They are you
Mhm.
know what I mean. They're the individuals who you see their vision, and you want to just ask them, just and most of the questions and Lauren, I don't know how you do it, man, but some of the questions that you ask, I mean, they're so basic, but they open up such a wide gamut of like
Mhm.
information. Um, I think one particular one that was really, really that touched my heart, and
Mhm.
my friends know her, was Yvette Young.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and when she was talking about her eating disorders, her
Oh
anxiety,
yeah. Yeah,
um,
she really opened up. She's awesome. I love her. Yeah.
yeah, and I never met her. I'm a big fan of her work, musically, but I think that particular interview right there, I think you hit it right in the fucking money, man, because
Mhm.
it just seems as though that I saw that how for you, and this is what I'm talking about, like you were so genuine about the questions you were asking. um it was almost like it was almost like what we're doing right now is like we're having coffee, eating like hella like expensive croissants, and just talking about like
Mhm.
whatever and like being deep about it. So I guess what I'm saying is that like, uh, and I'm just praising you with the channel. What are you gonna sort of branch out into Sidewalk Talk? Like, is there gonna be like new things added to it? Are you gonna stick with that format where you walk around the neighborhood and talk to these artists?
You mean just the pure interview, or like the channel as a whole?
The pure interview aspect of it.
Yeah. I think the interview, I'm kind of locked in on the idea. I haven't had any new, like, I just like the simplicity. I haven't had any, I've had people be like, oh, walk around the area where they grew up. And I did that for some, like, earlier interviews back then, but it's just like, it was just DJ, and you just talked about, oh, this club that she played ages ago, but looking, like, I don't think it added too much. It was just her club that she first performed at.
Right.
So, but I think as a whole, like, I feel like my interviews with Sidewalk is just, I don't feel like I want to change it. Like,
Yeah.
I like the way it is. I can't really think to, like, I'm not going to hire someone to walk, like, backwards and shoot it. The audio's, I barely had any complaints with the audio.
Mm-hmm.
The length, I mean, it's kind of nearly like a podcast length, but I've never had a comment that was like, this is too short.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for the most part, I'm, like, really set in stone with that. So, like, I feel like that series is, like, I'm perfectly fine with that, but like the other series that I'm trying to grow, like those definitely need some tweaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I get it. I think the format of your interview, because it's pretty original. You know, it's pretty original from what I've seen, where you have a camera with a boom, I think a boom mic. I'm not sure if that's it yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That camera must be heavy, man.
Oh, I mean, it's not, kind of just like those. It's a Canon M3, but with the mic, and then I have the selfie stick. I mean, I'm a swimmer, so I'm pretty strong.
Right.
And I've like carrying around for like half an hour or two. Never had more than 45 minutes, but like, and I do it like a few times a day. Like, I'm a strong person, so it hasn't affected me. But there's no way that I could like get more there's no way I could put a huge DSLR and carry that for. That would really affect, like, maybe the camera would start sagging to the floor if it gets too heavy. But yeah, it's not too, I mean, it's pretty heavy, but like, I'm used to it.
Okay, that's I remembered you were talking about your setup too, and kind of like tweaking that up. So kind of just going back, yeah, it's this really intimate kind of interview where you're included with it. You guys are getting your exercise, walking around. You know what I mean? And there's a couple of interviews. Sweater Beats, right? You interviewed Sweater Beats, right?
Yeah, that was one of my first in LA. Like, I just knew him from before, and he was down even when I had like 300 subs. Like, it was crazy.
Dude, he well, first of all, I didn't know he was Filipino.
Oh, he's the nicest guy.
Yeah, he's so cool because I'm Filipino and kind of like,
wow.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I loved about your channel is that you kind of expose like Asian artists as well too, because that's something that I think needs to be stressed in the States, So when I saw that interview, and I saw like sort of your editing style, like how you like kind of colored the post-process the footage and just everything about it and your interaction. It's so cute. It really is. It's really fucking cute, man. Because it's just like it's like having your best friend talk about like whatever. I can't stress that enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and most of these artists, I'm gonna be real. Is like I don't know any of these people most of the time.
Oh, really?
I don't.
Okay, wait. So I want to go back. So you saw my Higher Brothers interview, and then you just kind of subscribed and then watched my rest. Or how did it go? Because I feel like when I did the Higher Brothers, I was still living in Hong Kong, and there was a big jump between that and my LA ones, which I did consistently. And the format was completely different because that one wasn't a sidewalk style.
Well, I don't know, man, because that interview, because I kept coming back to, and I think he also did like vlogs too, because I'm a vlogger myself, and
Oh.
you know what I mean. And so kind of like I don't know, like how it came about when you were talking about the sidewalk talk. Like you wanted me to, you know what I mean? Like you wanted your people, the people to kind of subscribe to the channel. I think that when I was following your other channel and you were sort of like gonna like leave that alone,
Oh yeah,
and
my personal, yeah.
right, and I don't know what happened in between that, but I was just your name kept popping up,
Oh,
and
like on the recommended.
yeah, like or like on trending, like it was like videos that
Mhm.
are recommended. Yeah, like you know,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's because I was looking up a lot of 88 Rising artists. You know what I
Oh.
mean?
Yeah.
Joji, Rich Brian. I
Mhm.
mean, they're great influences. And you're talking to a guy who listens to hardcore and punk and like metal and stuff, and you know, and like emo and stuff. And
Mhm.
your channel, like your channel, I subscribing to your channel. It's like you'll see all these like hardcore acts, and then you'll see like your sidewalk
Hardcore
talk
from like
video.
EDM. Or, oh wait, like rock.
Yeah,
Like artists
basically.
I don't interview.
Right, like hardcore bands and
Oh, okay.
like you know like real like punk stuff, like really fucked up, like you know sounding, you know,
Mhm.
people jumping on top of people, like on like you know stage
Mhm.
diving and stuff. I'll see this in like in my feed, you know, and then I'll see like your sidewalk talks, like you know, on there, and it's like you're probably the only channel that I have that has pretty diverse like tastes, because you know my
Mhm.
girlfriend really loves EDM. You know,
Mm.
she's a big fan of that stuff, and she's still teaching me that stuff. She got me into K-pop, and like
Oh.
yeah, you know, and you have it was funny is that you have footage of CL from 2NE1's performance or solo performance in LA, and I was like,
Yeah.
how did you get that? What the
Oh, that was in
fuck?
Hong Kong.
Was it? Oh
Yeah, like in Hong Kong,
shit.
I was like a fashion blogger, so I was invited to a ton of events. And that was she was performing at a private fashion event.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man. Did you get a chance to did you get a chance to see her collaboration with the Black Eyed Peas?
No, no, I
Yeah.
wish. But,
It's
yeah.
dude, it's well the video is out, dude.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh wow.
And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm into. I do maybe you should
Yeah.
interview her,
That's so.
man.
Oh, I mean, that's cool. Oh my gosh. But like that's interesting. I mean, a lot of the people I interview you don't even listen to, so you're just there for like. I always thought that like people would just watch my interviews if they know the artist, but I guess you watch like interviews even if you don't know the artist.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's crazy to me.
Right. Well, I mean, it's your for me it's my I subscribe to it because you know, I don't know many of these groups, but it's you know, I'm trying to be a lot more open, and I think you're
Mm-hmm.
the way how you conduct the interview is really like it helps them to kind of be human. And
Mhm.
your recent video that you did with Bad Barbie,
Mhm.
um and when I watched that, I was like, wow, like Lauren really gave her a chance to just be herself,
Mhm.
you know? And I know that she goes through a lot of criticism
Yeah.
daily, you know? Uh I guess kind of describe to me what that was like. What was that whole how did you get that interview?
That one was through C-Head. A lot of like the big interviews that I get are still
Mhm.
through C-Head. Especially the pop acts and the rap acts. For the EDM acts, I've been mostly been able to get it to Sidewalk because I've pretty much become like an EDM channel that a lot of people know that. I'm surprised. Like in the EDM community, they're like, oh, like Sidewalk, like yeah, interview my artist that I've been
Mhm.
wanting to interview. But that one was through C-Head, so she didn't even like really know the format herself. She doesn't really know what Sidewalk is, so um yeah, it was trying to ask about like her upbringing and stuff. But I think
Mhm.
she already touched upon in other interviews, and I definitely didn't want to bring up like fights that she's been in. Like I feel like that stuff is just nothing evergreen or doesn't matter in the long run. Like the
Yeah,
fights that
yeah.
she's in and stuff. So I asked about that, and then her music. But I think she was like stressed because she had a performance later And also her bodyguard and manager were like right next to us, so
Oh.
I tried to make it as like chill as possible, but it was like honestly pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
And also our height difference, like I'm like 5'8" and she's like 5'2", so in some of the comments people have said that it looks kind of awkward, but then like her looking up at me, like it was so funny that they like I don't even want her to look up at me because it would blind her. Like there's just a lot of things that I had to figure out. Like I was surprised how positive the comments were, because I don't know, it was pretty difficult, just like a lot of things, and like her team wasn't really sure about, like didn't really understand the format, and also she's like big, so they were scared that she was gonna create havoc, which I completely understood, but that area is pretty chill, and I was like, let's just try it, and not a single fan came up to her. It was like a daytime and no kids were out, so
yeah.
yeah, I mean, just try to make the most out of it.
Yeah. Well, the comments, when I read the comments, I was like, yeah, guys, like, you guys are right. Like, it was almost as if, like, because I knew how, I felt how awkward you were in that interview. Like, let's just be real. Like, I knew you were trying your best to, like, make her feel a certain way. And it must have been so tough, man.
It was really difficult.
Yeah, I definitely give you props, man. But when I saw that interview, and this is what I'm saying, is that you bring out like a certain thing to these like people that, you know, they would never really like do for other like other people that interview them. You know, it's almost as if like, you know, your format really touches upon they're able to be comfortable, and they're not confined in a room with a bunch of fucking lights, you know, a bunch of microphones. It's just, hey, you're with me, let's talk. You know, it's almost like a private like conversation you guys are having. So
yeah,
man, it's so fucking original, man. Like, I swear to God, it's so good. It really is, man. And so upon touching on that, I know that earlier we had talked about you possibly like tweaking a couple of things in other segments in the channel. Is there anything else that you want to expand upon?
Yeah, I feel like Sidewalk Talk has so much potential. Do you know the channel Vox, like VOX?
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, they just do like a lot of diving deep into certain topics.
Okay.
Like today I was just watching one, like, why is ramen so valuable in prison? Like something I won't even think about like whatsoever or know, but I'm like, that's interesting, and they explain stuff with infographics, and I really like, so that's like a main, like, huge inspiration for me now.
You said Vox. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Vox.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Yes, you're right. They did like a segment on like Jay Dilla and like why like
they do a lot of exposition stuff. Yeah, so like that was my inspiration for Sidewalk Docs. The host had to like leave because he's graduating, but I'll probably take over unless I find a different host. I just feel like those shooting it could be like higher budget. I mean, I have all the camera gear, and I'm gonna like buy a lot more like lighting gear and like studio and set up something here, so that I want to really improve and just have a kind of like each series I want to have like a different kind of fan base. Like I don't expect everyone to watch all of my interviews because it's so different artists. But I feel like if I had a series like the docs, like Vox, I pretty much watch like every interview they put out. So it's kind of that. And then my love talk, I haven't really done much except for the Sun Holo and the Minesweeper. But like looking back, I don't really like the yellow curtain thing. I just like looking. I want to see more like Pigeons and Planes or Complex with like a really good lighting, background, just to boost the production value for those. Show talk to have people film more. I want more like public kind of contribution to the channel. I haven't really figured. Well, other than like submitting their event footage, I haven't really thought in what effect might be doing like a public react. I was brainstorming with the Sidewalk Talk host Kobe, and we just thought it would be cool if we did like an end of 2018 roundup and had everyone react to their favorite EDM songs of the year, and I compile into video and like put it up. never gonna check back to see if they made it. I'll probably put everyone's like video anyway. I don't know, it might be too long, but it could be cute to see everyone reacting to their favorite EDM song. And I'm trying to think that, and then like merch. But yeah, other than sidewalk interviews, maybe I've become more selective with that. And then this boost production value. I want to have a few more hosts that could just bring life into some other series.
Okay.
But yeah, just thinking of it more like a BuzzFeed with a lot of different hosts and different segments. But that's kind of, I love the Vox, I love the BuzzFeed complex. Like all of those are kind of my inspirations now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's almost as if like now you really want to focus on doing more music journalism. You want to do more interviewing. You want to do like kind of like news about, specific genres of music.
Yeah, I mean, the main idea was just what is Billboard doing? What is your EDM news? What is EDM tunes? Dancing Astronaut, what are they doing? And just pretty much converting a blog into YouTube style.
Okay.
Like that's all I'm doing. And I mean, those blogs, I don't really know even who goes on blogs anymore, but yeah, I feel like if not now, it probably has more engagement than like the average EDM blog at this point. I mean, I can't remember the last time I even went on an EDM blog just to look at music. I just put it on Spotify and stuff. Yeah.
So are you interested in doing like podcasting by any chance?
I have podcast. I mean, I've been exploring the audios and putting it on iTunes. I got some requests that people want to listen to when they drive, so I've been doing that. I mean, I did 350 interviews, and it's taking me forever to like even just after. I want to include like a personalized introduction for each one, so I'm like looking up the person just for the audio recording it, and then matching it, exporting the previous video audio, matching it, blah blah blah. So that's taking time. I think I've put out like 50 or something, but
wow,
not that much. But yeah, but other than that, no. Like I put that out just because people ask, and I mean, I'm not even I'm like losing money from the podcasting. I have to pay for the podcast service, but that's kind of like the extent I would go into podcasting, just so people can listen to it on their like time to work. And if I have time to convert the audio and record something, like I'll do it. Yeah.
Man, and you're so young too, with like full of ambition. You know what I mean? So it's like it's so cool to kind of like talk to you about this kind of stuff. Man, like I'm just so in awe. Like really am so in awe about it. So what are you going to any new like adventures? Because I know that you travel quite a bit now, and
yeah, I'm gonna be home.
Pretty much
like a month. I can't really do interviews, but it's fine. I've been putting out so many already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, one thing that I thought would be cute is like I think my channel has a lot of like the interviews are really long, and Matt stuff is I love it, like the roundups of stuff. But I want something that like my channel has been on a steady increase, but nothing. I haven't had a sudden spike, and I was thinking like, what is I don't want to say clickbaity, but what would attract the general audience to find my channel?
Right.
And then I started watching like, the public reaction, like public pranks. I'm not really a prank person. Like I take stuff like pretty seriously, and I really like it's kind of funny, but like it's nothing. Like I would never be a prankster.
Right.
But I was thinking like, what if I just like went up to people on the street, like someone filming me, and I filmed their reaction to like Excision, it's like crazy dubstep, and it's like a grandma, like what would her reaction be? I mean, I would watch that because I'm like curious to see what a grandma would think about for like crazy dubstep.
Right.
But then I also think the average person who doesn't know EDM just knows the term EDM and just thinks dubstep is funny and like would watch like. And I was thinking, what if I did this? I kicked it off in Hong Kong. I already have it kind of in my head, like a checklist for me to do, and I'm in Hong Kong. Get off in Hong Kong. I don't know how much. I'm also going to Shanghai and Philippines, but I'll be with my family, so I don't really know how much I could do there.
Right,
but,
right.
If I were to do it like a international thing, like film in LA and wherever I travel, I do these people react. I mean, it would be funny to see like Idaho, like farmers react to EDM, and I think people would go down a wormhole of clicking other countries and cities and states react to EDM, and that would be something like people have to know nothing about EDM and they get it.
Right,
Because whereas
right.
my channel right now is like really specific, and I feel like a lot of people who watch my channel are producers.
Yeah.
And if they're not in the know, then I don't want them, then they don't know. Like, it's very specific. And I know a decent amount of EDM stuff and pop stuff to, like, and I know a lot of people who watch my channel, like, know so much. Like, in the comments, I can tell that they probably know more than me about EDM. But I want something that would kind of appeal to the masses. And that's currently the only idea pretty much that I could execute that is not, like, too clickbaity.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
funny. Like, it would be a funny thing for people to watch. And I feel like the people on my channel would also be curious. Like, people love seeing how people of different cultures feel about certain things. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's my goal for next month, and I just have to execute it, put it out, and see how it does.
Man. Well, Lauren, I kind of just wanted to close out this interview and just wanted to say thank you very much for
Thank
uh,
you.
joining me. You know, it really means a lot to me for the fact that you're allowing like a complete stranger interview you on your craft, and I'm sure you don't really know who Bueno Power is. That's the brand I go under,
hmm
and yeah, man. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
so
I mean, this is
nice.
also really cool for me to like. You can tell that I'm such a go person that I'm not really reflective, and sometimes I like don't really understand certain things about Sidewalk, like why someone would like click with it, or why someone would watch an interview if they don't know the musician.
Right.
I know that people have said that it's like really personal, but I haven't really thought about why. And I feel like you articulated it really well, that I'm able to see from a certain perspective. So
Right.
that's also been really cool for me for this, because I'm not really a reflective person. It's hard for me to see, like, honestly, why people subscribe. I mean, they'd subscribe for the people I'm interviewing. I'm interviewing like Kashmir and stuff, which is big
Right.
for EDM. But like, yeah, it's really shocking for me that you're not an EDM person. So that's like really cool for me that people just like the format themselves, which like just blows my mind. So that's just really cool for me.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Well, no, I mean, because I'm a type of person who is kind of interested in concept, and I think that,
Mm.
like, I identify with it the most because, you know really how to engage with people, even though you had told yourself that you're like kind of shy into some
Mhm.
degree. Which I get it because I'm generally shy myself. I'm also
Mhm.
I'm also an open book on most things too. But as somebody like myself who is part of DIY punk like culture and is into like photography, analog, digital, C heads, you know, crazy fashion, crazy, I don't know, whatever abstract art. Um, I think what you touch upon on this like series of interviews that you do is really the personality of it. And
Mhm.
like you said that like how you're not a very reflective person. You may like look at it. You may look at some interviews like, ah, man, like I shouldn't have done that and done that. You're probably like thinking what you could do better, which is fine. But
Mhm.
as someone as like myself, like as I try to take things in as they are, um, you have the look of Sidewalk Talk, like as far as the post production, the
Mhm.
personality, the artists who you feel are um, that should be known. Like you really are a good a promoter of like
Mhm.
underground music. That's what you're doing. You're really promoting underground music. Yeah, Bad Barbie, like okay, like she's known because of her viral acts, but even
Mhm.
then, like with that interview in particular, and I don't think anybody, with most of the people that comment on it, I don't think a lot of people understand like a person in that age and you being able to kind of have like that same age group and be able to talk about certain things with her that she wouldn't normally
Mhm.
talk about with people. That's fucking huge, man. Like that's really
Oh,
big.
thank you.
You know what I mean? Like that's really big.
Hmm.
So on top of like, and I wish you were photographing more because I really like your body of work. But I know
Hmm.
that you're like kind of working on your interview stuff, your channel.
Hmm.
Everybody has to grow up one way or another, but they don't have to
Hmm.
leave behind like arts that really made them the way they are, and
Hmm.
I gotta congratulate you, man. I really
Oh,
got
thank
to, and I
you.
gotta give you props. One of these days, cause I'm hoping to move back to California. I live in Connecticut,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna be moving back to California, hopefully with my girl next year.
Oh, wow,
Um,
nice.
I do want to meet up with you, and I do want to have
Oh, yeah.
coffee and a croissant and just like talk about whatever. Cause she's Chinese too, and
Okay.
she speaks Cantonese a little
Hmm.
bit. And so maybe I can like even like meet up with you and be like, dude, like we gotta hang out, man. You gotta show me where all the good
Yeah,
spots
I'm
are at,
down.
Because
Yeah.
you're I don't know, dude. You might have to make like food talk because them foods that you be eating is pretty fucking good, man.
I know. Yeah, that's also a series I could go see. I literally, that's also what I literally have food talk written down in my Excel. So it's a lot of things on the back burner,
Right,
but
right.
hopefully we'll have more time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it, I get it. But Lauren, I wanted to say thank you very much for joining me in
Thank
this
you.
episode. I'll text you the link to the episode and stuff, and let you know when it comes
Yeah,
up.
awesome. For
Um,
sure. I'll share and everything.
would you be willing to come back to the podcast and talk about more things?
Yeah, yeah, for
Okay,
sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
maybe when I have like more to figure out some series or new stuff to talk about, I'm keen.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
I'll definitely give you a call for sure. All right, Lauren, I really would appreciate it. I'm gonna get going. I'll see you later.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
And that does it for this episode of the Bueno Power Hour podcast. I just want to say thank you to Lauren for just having this conversation about her work, about her craft. Again, it's very I'm very blessed to have people like herself take the time and join me on an hour conversation, and it's just really cool. A person like herself who has so much ambition, really just it's just it's so inspiring to see someone like her like really do it up and really go for it. And that's what you're supposed to do. If you have a dream and you have an idea that you believe in, you want to go towards it. So I just want to say thank you, Lauren, again. You should really check her out on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Again, she has a channel, Sidewalk Talk, that you should subscribe to. And yeah, I'm glad you guys were around to listen to this episode, and hope to have more episodes like this in the future. So I want to say thank you very much. Until next time, bye.